Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Saying that feels really crazy because I'm aware that I've hardly uploaded in the last 3 months, and a lot of the videos that you saw towards the end of when I was uploading consistently I had pre-filmed. So it's been a very long time since I've actually sat down and properly filmed a video, but I really want to try and pick it up again in 2020. But I'm actually going to talk more about that in next week's video because I want to talk about why I haven't been uploading and what my plans for 2020 are and how I plan to combat it, etc. I want to make a whole video that's kind of relevant to that. So if you want to hear all of my excuses, make sure you subscribe, and hopefully next week's video will be me explaining what my plan is for 2020. But I'm uploading this video first because this video feels a bit more time sensitive. So what we're talking about today is my no-buy challenge for 2021. Saying that out loud feels wild. I never thought I would actually do this, but here we are. So let me explain. I first heard about the No Buy Challenge from Lena Norms, who runs one of my favourite YouTube channels of all time. I love that woman, and she and her videos have genuinely changed my life a little bit. So she did a No Buy Challenge, I think in 2019, or she did at least 6 months. Anyway, so she was talking about it, and she referred to a channel called the Personal Philosophy Project, which is run by a woman called Chinzia, and she has made loads of videos about this, and it's one of the things that she's known for. So I watched her videos and I have now subscribed to her, and I love her channel too. Incredible. Honestly, if you take away anything from this video, just go subscribe to those two women. They have much more value to offer on the internet so far than I do. But anyway, I started watching her videos about a no-buy challenge, and in really simple terms, I'll get into a bit more of the details in a minute, but in really simple terms, this is a challenge where you just don't buy anything. You just stop buying things. And when I first heard about this, I was like, I came across minimalism when I think the first thing was the Minimalists podcast. Was the first thing that really got me interested in minimalism. I discovered this when I was 16. So I have been interested in minimalism for 5 years now, a long time. But as you can see from the stuff behind me, I am not yet what I would call a fully fledged minimalist. But as those 5 years go on, and the more I read, the more I'm convinced that minimalism is the way forward. And one of my big goals is to finally reach that state. I am kind of ready to bin everything and finally be a minimalist. And a part of that is stop buying new shit. It's not just bin what you already have, it's break up with your consumerist habits. And I have done no buy months before. I have said, right, I'm going to buy nothing for this month, and if I want something, I'm going to write it down on a list, and at the end of the month I'm going to review that list, and then I can buy the things if I want it once I've had time to sit on those decisions. And I've done that a few times, and often my list will be 4 or 5 things long, and then I'll buy one thing. I'll get to the end of the month and I'll be I don't actually need these things, but I want that thing. I think the final straw, the thing that made me decide, right, I want to do this, is when I was opening my Christmas presents this year. Firstly, my mum did a really good job of buying Christmas presents this year. I asked for money, so I didn't get a big present because they just gave me some money, but all the small things she gave me were mostly consumables, which is what I love. So I got some candles, some sweets, some prosecco, some socks, some soap, some shampoo, things like that, which I love because I need them and I use them. And when people buy me luxury soap that I wouldn't buy myself, that's really nice. So I was very happy with that. Whereas in the past, they have bought me things last year my mum bought me a snow globe. I have no need for a snow globe. So firstly that, but the thing that made me think, and the thing that was a final straw in making me be I should do this, was that I realised that that bag of presents was more exciting to me when it was wrapped. I was more excited about that bag of presents when, they were all hidden. I was like, oh, what are they? Presents. And then when I opened them, I loved them. They're all they're all candles, sweets, things I'll use. But I was well, now it's done, and now it's just some stuff in my life. And that made me be right, we need to stop buying things because the message is that things won't make you happy. It really is that simple. Monetary purchases will basically never make you happy, especially the small ones. Big things are a whole different question for another day. Like buying houses and cars, I realise there's a whole different topic about whether that can make you happy or not. But buying small things, is not going to make you happy. And I need to stop doing that. I need to learn that I can be happy and not spend money. And the second factor is that I am having therapy at the moment, and I am doing this without financial support of anyone else. So I'm spending my savings on therapy. And I've been having therapy for like 6 months now, and so far I've spent about £800, and I don't want to stop. Which, yeah, so I need to spend less money so that I feel less bad spending money on therapy. So in 2021, I'm going to challenge myself to buy as little as possible. This is not a strict win or fail thing. I personally really struggle with challenges where there's the possibility of failure, because I'm a perfectionist. I'm the kind of person that if I am doing like a 30-day challenge and I miss day 5, I'll then just give up. Because I'm like, well, I failed, when in reality I could just carry on, or I could catch up, etc. So my goal isn't to buy nothing, even though I am going to call this my no buy challenge, just because that's kind of what this community challenge is known as. Actually, the challenge is how few things can I buy in 2021, and I just want to explore it. If I get to the end of January and I'm like, lol, I bought 5 things, then I'll make a video explaining why I bought 5 things and my thoughts. If I get all the way to June and then I buy loads of stuff, I'll make a video explaining why I'm doing it. I want this to be an experiment rather than a challenge. So my experiment is how few things can I buy in 2021 and still be happy? What is the optimal number of things to buy in a year to make me happy? If we have like happiness and number of purchases, where is the top of the curve? That's what I'm trying to find out here. So that is the basic premise of what I'm doing. But obviously I can't get through life without spending money. We live in a capitalist society where it costs money to breathe. So the way that most people do this is they write themselves, let me grab my notebook. So the way that most people do this is they write themselves a list of allowed exceptions. So I, in my journal, have created a spread for this, as one does. So I have a box here with a list of my allowed exceptions, and then underneath I'm going to write a list of everything I purchased this year. Am I being optimistic, thinking it will fit in this space? Hopefully not. So I'm going to read to you what my allowed exceptions are. So these are the things that I'm allowed to buy and it doesn't count. And this will be different for everyone. If you watch any of Chinzia's videos about the No Buy Challenge, she talks about this a lot. But basically you've got to work out, what do you want to get out of this challenge? And then decide what are necessary purchases for you. So these things that I've put down are things that I view as necessary purchases, or things that I know that I'm not questioning. I'm like, I'm happy that I'm spending money here. My primary goal isn't to spend as little money as possible. My primary goal is to be as happy as possible, which means saving money for therapy, and it means not bringing pointless stuff that I don't need into my life when that money could be better spent, and when that item is just going to cause me stress by becoming clutter. So my allowed exceptions are, number 1, food and drink. I'm allowed to spend as much money on food and drink as I want. And I've written in brackets, this includes alcohol, takeaways, and eating out at restaurants, and coffee, because obviously, firstly, we need food to survive, and I love cooking, so that's a big hobby of mine, and I don't want to stop that. And then I'm allowing myself eating out at restaurants and takeaways, because to me, those are social things. I hardly ever do those things by myself. So if I'm doing those, it's because I'm spending time with friends, and that to me is one of the most valuable things, and I don't want to stop spending money there. Number 2, replacing essentials that run out. So if I run out of something, such as shampoo, which I can't live without, I'm allowed to buy the second one. And my definition of essential is something that we're going to find out this year. Number 3, experiences, and I've put in brackets cinema and day trips. Obviously this will depend on the state of the world and coronavirus, but I think experiences are always very valuable, particularly when they're with other people. For an introvert, I really love people, and spending time with people, in my opinion, is invaluable and something you can't put a price on. So I'm going to let myself spend as much money as I want on that. I have written a blog post called Why You Should Always Choose Experiences Over Material Purchases, and maybe it's something I'll make a video about soon, but if you want to know more about why I think experiences are so much better than material purchases, I do have a blog post on it, which I will link below. Number 4, I'm allowed to buy books and audiobooks when I run out of them, and I'm seeing these 2 separate categories. So if I run out of physical books / Kindle books to read, then I'm allowed to buy new ones, and if I run out of audiobooks, then I'm allowed to buy new ones. Because I was recently making blog posts of all of the films I've watched this year and all the TV I've watched this year, and I have watched a scary amount. So in 2021, I want to try and read more books instead. But in the evening, if I'm tired, sometimes the last thing I want to do is sit and read a book. But sitting and listening to an audiobook and doing some kind of craft, whether it's embroidering or colouring in, is so much nicer, in my personal opinion. I'm not exactly sure why, but that is much easier. So if buying a lot of audiobooks means I get more books read this year, I'm going to let myself do that. So that's why I'm seeing them as 2 separate categories, because if I run out of audiobooks but I still have loads of books, I know my brain is going to be hesitant to read those books. So does that make sense? I'm allowed to buy audiobooks if I run out of audiobooks, even if I have physical books left. But I have made a list. My TBR for this year, if you go on Goodreads, my TBR is a mess. But the ones I've actually written down, these are the books that I own, either in physical form or in Kindle form or in audio form, and my goal is to get through these before I buy any other books, because why spend money on books when I already have like a dozen books here that I own to read. Number 5, embroidery supplies. I recently took up embroidery and it's bringing me a lot of joy, so I don't want to put a cap on that. It shouldn't be too expensive a hobby. I have some hoops. I have some thread. I will probably have to buy more thread, but thread isn't actually that expensive. And then I'm currently just using like old t-shirts and scraps of material to work on. But I think what I would like to do eventually, if I run out of those things, is go to charity shops and buy secondhand clothes or buy secondhand like blankets to use as scraps of material. I want to experiment with that, so I'm going to let myself spend as much money I want as that, because the world is a dark place right now and that is bringing me a lot of joy, and I don't want to deny myself of that. So that's what I mean when I say these rules, if you take on the challenge, should be very individual to you. I can see myself spending money in that department this year, and I'm going to let myself do that. Number 6, therapy. Self-explanatory. Number 7, gym membership and exercise. I benefit a lot from exercise. If I can get into the routine of exercise, I love it so much. At the start of this year, I was doing a lot of exercise, and over summer I had a gym membership and I was going to the gym like 3 times a week, and I really enjoyed it. And if lockdown lightens this year, I would love to reinstate my gym membership in 2021 and start going to the gym regularly again. That is one of the first things I'm excited to do once coronavirus is over. Let's hope that doesn't turn into a laughable snippet. Details here is I shouldn't be spending money on gym gear. Like, I have so many pairs of leggings and so many gym tops that I don't want to be spending money on that, but I'm allowed to spend money on memberships and events, etc. If I can enter some half marathons, I would love to do that. If I can do some Quidditch stuff, I would love to do that. So I'm happy to spend money on the experience of exercise, but not on equipment or workout gear. Number 8, subscriptions, and specifically the free subscriptions I have at the moment are I pay 79p for iCloud every month. I pay $4.99, which I'm not quite sure exactly what it converts to, for MathPicks every month, even though when you add it up over the year, that is a lot of money. But probably when I finish university, I'll probably get rid of that. So it's only for like another year or so that I need that software. And I also pay about £20 a month to Patreon to support all my favourite creators. I am a student and I don't have a lot of money, but I like to support people where I can. So my current approach is that I give most of my favourite creators like $1 or $2 a month. And lastly, number 9 is presents for other people. Yeah, I'm allowed to buy other people birthday presents and Christmas presents without a limit. So those are my 9 exceptions and what I'm allowed to buy. The only thing to think about is that I don't want to overspend in these categories because I'm not spending in other categories. So for example, I'm letting myself spend loads of money on food and drink, but I don't want to think, oh, I can afford loads of takeaways and loads of restaurants because I'm not spending in other categories. As I said, I want to be saving money for therapy and for the future. So yeah, I'm not going to limit myself in those categories, but I'm going to try and still be respectful of this no buy challenge. I don't want to be overspending in those categories to compensate for not spending in other categories. So those are my rules. This I am viewing as an experiment, and I will update you when I have an update. Initially I thought, oh, I'll do an update video every month, but you know what, I don't think I'm going to have enough to say every single month. I'm probably going to get to the end of January and be like, yeah, it's all good, I've not bought anything, we're going to keep going, and that doesn't need an entire video. So I will make some more videos this year, giving you updates and giving you my thoughts, but that could be one video at the end of the year, it could be a video every 3 months, it could be one video in February and one video in November, it could be videos every single month. I have no clue. It depends how big a thing this challenge turns out to be. And like I said, if I do buy things, it's not a failure. I'm just going to write them down on this list, and the experiment is how few things can I buy this year. This feels very scary because it's something I have thought about before, but as I said, I never imagined I would do it. But apparently here we are. I am ready to be more of a minimalist than I already am. So I think that's all I have to say. I hope this was interesting. I'm making this video because if this idea sounds really radical to you, I hope it serves as some food for thought. I'm not expecting everyone to love this idea or to jump on board with me, but I hope it makes you think, and that's why I'm sharing this journey with you. I think that's all I have to say. I will see you hopefully next week. My name is Louise, and if you want to learn more about me, you can find me at Instagram and YouTube at Louise's Life. Thank you very much for watching.